Okay, welcome back. Let's run our application and I want to show you some functionality that I've configured and I'll show you how I configured it. So let me create a new contact and let me go over to here and I'll type in Bill and I've got Bill, and every time I update this, let me change this to William, and you see every time I update this, this first field is getting updated, and then I can pick the date of birth. But let me show you how I configured that, and I'm actually going to undo it and show you from scratch how to configure it. So let me go to that page 5. It's page 5. That's the form page. Click go, and I've created what's called a dynamic action. And this dynamic action happens whenever I change some values. So let me get rid of it and I'll recreate it. Um, if I click on here on this lightning bolt, I get to the dynamic actions page. And what that is, that allows me to do a lot of things like configure the type of functionality that I'm talking about. So I'm going to right click on this change and I'm going to click uh, create new dynamic action. And by default, it's called new. Let me give it a good name. Change or concatenate first and last name. So that'll tell me later on when I'm looking at this what it really does. Now what it is the event is going to be a change because I right clicked on change. Every time I change, and let me pick items, every time I change the first name item or the last name item, and you can see it's putting a comma delimited list there. Every time I change those items, this action is going to run. And so what is the action? Well, the action by default is show, but I don't want it to be that. I want the action to be set value. So we're going to set a value and we're going to give it a PLSQL expression. Now, don't worry about this. This is not going to be that complicated of PLSQL, but I do want to introduce the fact that we have a number of options here. We could write a large function. We could return some SQL. And but in this case, I'm going to return this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my, scroll down here. I've got a number of items here, and to reference the value of an item, I can do a colon sign. So colon P5 first name, and then this is the concatenate operator, this double lines. Let me make this bigger so you can see it. It's colon P underscore first name, and then we need the last name. So basically I'm concatenating all of these two items together with a space in between, and I can click validate there. So it's colon and then the item name. So these are the items and they have names. And then I'm concatenating a single quoted space. Basically, I'm going to put a space in between the first name and the last name. And then this is concatenating the last name. So it's three items being concatenated together. This together with this, and then together with that. Okay, so we click OK there. We still have a message here though. What does it say? Oh, we need to say which items are going to get affected. And so the item that's going to get affected is the full name. And also, I'm going to go ahead and submit the first name and the last name that's here, page items to submit. So it's going to submit those, and then we'll be able to get the values back and concatenate them. So again, we can't run this directly, so we got to go to page 4, click on Go, and we'll run page 4, which is our list of contacts. So now let's go ahead and create that item again and see if it worked. So Bill, and by the way, I could put BW here. be W, but it doesn't matter because as soon as I change this, it's going to get updated. And so that's some nice functionality we have. By the way, you can always type in there. And we'll click Create. So we close that, and you see that it's working just fine. And so that's full name is showing up. And in fact, I don't even need to include these first name and last name anymore because I have the full name there. So that's dynamic actions. We'll be seeing them more throughout this course, but I just wanted to introduce that. It's complicated, and if you didn't get it, then you may want to go back and understand it a little bit better just by rewatching this. In the next lecture, we'll do a little bit more cleanup.